Another work week started with more talk about the Browns, and this was the big story last week. The Super Bowl may be over. However, talk of football in Cleveland is going to stay hot for a while. The team and the city of Cleveland have not reached a deal over the future of where the Browns will play. As discussions inch forward, there are a lot of unanswered questions and big implications. And for that, we go to Mark Naymik, who really is dialed in on all of these issues. He's managing editor of news at Signal Cleveland, and he's also, of course, a contributor for us here. A lot going on, right?
Yeah, so glad to have you here. So let's talk about what we do and don't know, really, following the stadium build. Is it going to stay downtown? Is it going to Brook Park? What have you heard?
Well, I think the big takeaway that we should get from this is that despite what the Haslams have said about prioritizing rebuilding downtown or around the stadium, that they are certainly thinking about something else. And anytime an owner is talking about a new stadium, dome has to be on the mind. Retractable roof, because that is giving you a lot more options. I think this also tells us really that the deal between the city and the Browns is far from settled.
Obviously, NFL owners can dream. We saw that private funds were used to build SoFi, which was $2 billion. That's the stadium complex out in Los Angeles. Has either the city or the team talked about exactly what the price tag of this facility will be?
Yeah, nobody has commented publicly on hard costs, but the sources have told me that the team and the city have discussed a range from about 150 up to 500 million of public dollars in. Now, that's back of the napkin figures. Nothing has been settled, and the city is certainly not buying into that yet because there really is no plan for a revenue stream identified.
What about a timeline? I mean, is there any clarity there?
Well, the timeline is coming up fast, because if you think about it, even renovating a stadium is going to take a couple of years. Sure. If you were ultimately to move somewhere else, that's going to be a little bit more. The Browns play through 2028. They can certainly extend that if they wanted, a short-term deal, all that. Anything's workable. But no, the clock is ticking. I want to remind the viewers that the city has told us before, specifically, they hope to have some kind of deal in place by the end of the first quarter. So that's really coming up in a month and a half or so. But there's a lot going on there.
Okay. A lot of folks are asking, why can't we use the sin tax? That's popular in the past. What's going on there?
Yeah, and it's been used to fund all of the sports facilities and maintain them that we have here. My colleague Nick Costell lays out today a little bit about why that doesn't happen. The sin tax is running out of money. It's good for 10 more years. They've split that pot. That leaves estimated about $50 million left for the Browns. Well, that's not enough to renovate, to build new. And if the Browns leave, they don't even get that money. Also, the state lawmakers passed legislation years ago that said no more sin taxes. So you have to go back to them and get a change of the law. Then you have to go to the people to get a vote. And all of that adds to that timeline question.
Okay. Fascinating stuff. We're talking basically about a billionaire who will at some point likely ask for tax dollars. And I thought Mike Polk's line on Friday's piece was so apropos. You're talking about asking one of the most impoverished cities in America to fund a billionaire's project so he can add to his private wealth. That seems a bit twisted. Is that a wrong characterization?
Well, I mean, it is a very common look at that, and an argument that's coming up in a city that has, no resources for, they're fighting over now what to do with some maybe TIF development money for the neighborhoods.
And a lot of other
rec
issues.
Centers and other things. But the Browns are going to say, we're going to put in a significant amount of money, but we can't do it alone. They probably could if they want it, but that's typically, you have leverage because you're bringing in, we're punching above our weight, as they say, right?
Right.
We've got a three-sports town.
I think the elephant in the room here that's going to be discussed a lot as we move forward is the fact that the Haslams invested hundreds of millions of dollars, rather, to become owners in an NBA franchise, the Milwaukee Bucks, that competes with our Cleveland Cavaliers. That's not a good look either.
Yeah, but if the Browns get better, make it through the playoffs a little further next year, I think the fan base is all for it, but it would take a vote of the only logical revenue stream really is extending that excise tax on alcohol and cigarettes, and that's going to take a vote of the people. And in the past, remember, Cleveland's not supported that.
No, they have not.
It's passed by the county.
We'll keep watching it. Mark Naymik, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mark.